Up next on today's Wild West.
That was the last film scene for John Wayne.
We'll show you where John Wayne made movies.
John Wayne's got his hand here.
At the Lone Pine Film Festival, in the shadow of the High Sierra.
He took out 15 minutes of hide on me.
We'll talk to John Wayne co-star Bobby Carradine.
It didn't go well.
Plus, saddle up and ride the same trails where classic westerns were filmed. And get a thrilling look at the daring and dangerous world of stuntmen. Plus, the music of the Quebe Sisters, and a piece of the Old West that's become a concert and wedding venue that's like no other. A trip to California's Eastern Sierra, up next on today's Wild West. The Wild West. It's still out there. And we'll show you how to find it. This is today's Wild West.
3, 4, 1.
It's a summer night in Bridgeport, California, at one of the most unusual and beautiful music venues anywhere. The Quebe Sisters
I do my best to please you in all I say or do.
who you'll meet in just a bit, are performing at Bridgeport Ranch. This very cool historic property dates to 1871. When Stuart Kirkwood built the barns for his draft horses to haul hay to the nearby Wild West mining town of Bodie, today a ghost town and a California State Historic Park.
It was my working corral. Right down there where the terrace is at is where I used to work cows.
Bridgeport Ranch owner Benny Romero has his own history here. He's lived along the eastern slope of the High Sierra for 50 years.
That backdrop, can't beat it. Beautiful area.
Most of that time as the ranch manager for the Sweetwater Ranch Land and Cattle Company.
Nevada Rangeland Manager of the Year. That must have made you proud, huh?
Yeah, that was a pretty neat award. I'd bring cattle in here off the fields.
Benny was working cows in the corral where the audience now sits when he got an idea.
One day I pulled in here with a semi to load a truckload of calves. And when I was leaving, I saw all the cows looking up at me, and I thought, wow, I'm going to change this from cows to people. And I got to thinking about it, dreaming about it, just visualizing it, and the next thing I know, I've got a plan. I love this old barn.
He went to work, starting with the old barn, well preserved despite this area's ferocious winters.
What saved this old barns is a lot of tin, a lot of metal on them. Otherwise, ice crystals erodes the wood.
Step one was transforming the upstairs hayloft into the green room for the many Western singer-songwriters who perform here and whose photos hang on the wall.
Bren Hill, Belinda, Don Edwards. In that category of music, I think I've had pretty much all of them. Ian Tyson says one of the prettiest places he's ever played at.
Back in the day, a rope and a pulley would hoist the hay up to the loft, which would then be shoveled down to the horses in the barn through a hole in the floor.
So they used this barn to put their horses in, feed them and grain them and harness them.
Today it's a cozy room where performers get ready before their show, complete with a bar.
I tell everybody I stole it out of Virginia City, but that's not true. I got it at Costco.
And the green room becomes a bridal room for the many weddings held at the ranch. A very popular place with an amazing setting for an outdoor ceremony and reception.
I love putting on the weddings, and I just became a minister, so I'm doing the weddings myself. I built the stairs. I have a lot of brides get their picture taken as they're coming down the staircase here.
Benny loves to build and did most of the work himself, transforming the barn while preserving its historic character.
This have been here for years and years.
And its many artifacts from the horse-drawn past.
Maybe back to the 1800s, huh?
They go way back. That was my little milking stool in New Mexico, and this came off of Grandma's little well.
Romero grew up on a ranch in New Mexico.
Grandmother's trunk.
And important pieces of his own family history are displayed here as well.
And that was my grandpa's brand. And if you notice, it was made out of a buggy tire. Very well made, very precise. And pieces like this. This writing here, it didn't have to have all that design on it, but they put it on there.
Other antiques include an 1873 machine used to strip corn off the cobs.
It's how the old-timers took time to make things.
Outside, Benny converted the corral into a brick patio, surrounded by a beautiful new rock wall, accented by flowers.
Gates from back in the day too, huh?
Yep.
And a wood fence, cut by an area sawmill back in the 1800s.
Those are the slabs from the outside of logs when they took the lumber out of the center. If this post could tell some stories, it'd have a lot of them. But it was a gate post, and I didn't have the heart to take it out. And what this corral right here used to be, it was a breaking corral where they broke horses. And this post here, I left it here too, because this was the snubbing post where they tied horses up tight, and this was for breaking horses.
Above it all flies a huge American flag, dedicated by the U.S. Marine Corps.
I didn't have to do this, but I went around to all the major ranchers in the valley, and they all donated to pay for that flag, just so that it would give them ownership. I had about 15 donors. When I first raised that flag on the flagpole, I had the Marine Corps come in and raise the flag, and I had a P-51 do a flyby. And now folks that travel through, they say Bridgeport's not Bridgeport when that flag's not up.
My peace of mind when I'm worried over you.
When it was all finished, Benny had created not only a spectacular setting for a concert, but a hugely popular wedding venue, complete with a horse-drawn carriage to deliver the bride.
Love wagons, so I fixed it all up, and I usually bring the brides in from town, from by the courthouse or through town anyway.
But tonight, the Quebe Sisters are center stage. Grace, Hulda, and Sophia, here from Texas to perform the unique style of music they call progressive Western swing. Simon Stipp on guitar and Daniel Parr on stand-up bass, they give us a green room preview of tonight's show.
I hope someday you realize our love was meant to be, and every which way you love, I hope that loves me.
Texas-based Quebe started playing fiddle relatively late in life at ages 7, 9, and 12, inspired by a fiddle contest.
We found some teachers and started taking lessons, and then we really got into the fiddle contest thing and did that for quite a while. And then because we all were doing music together, like Grace said, we started working up songs and arrangements together, and then kind of once you do that for a while, you're like, well, let's go play them somewhere.
Homeschooled, the sisters must have been diligent and disciplined, because within just a few years, they were competing at fiddle contests, performing, and invited to play the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville.
Ricky Skaggs brought us out there. I think I was about 13 at the time. And I mean, when you're that young, it makes such an impression on you. You're like, whoa, this is so cool. You know, I want to continue to keep doing this.
Just because these words were spoken.
15 years of touring and 4 CDs later, the Quebes have performed all over North America, Europe, and even Russia.
I hope that loves me. Every which way you love, I hope that loves me.
I do really love the traveling aspect. I mean, here we are in Bridgeport, California. It's so beautiful. Yeah. We drove through Yosemite today, and we were just out at San Francisco yesterday. So we get to see so many beautiful places. I love that. I love getting to take our music. I love playing on stage. I like playing for people.
it's a safe bet they've never played any place quite like Bridgeport Ranch.
For those of you who have not turned around and seen the sunset, now is your golden opportunity. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful.
It is indeed. What a place to hear great music on a summer night.
Somewhere there's music, I'll paint the tune. Somewhere there's heaven.
It's all about having fun.
But no one may be having quite as much fun as the rancher who made it all happen.
I enjoy seeing people having fun, having a great time.
My mind might tell my lips to say it's over, but my heart would only say it's alive.
Transforming while preserving an authentic piece of the Old West to share with the world.
It's beautiful. Great times.
Hi, I'm Mark Bedore. Today's Wild West is in the Alabama Hills outside Lone Pine, California for an encore visit to the Lone Pine Film Festival. We'll show you where John Wayne made movies coming up on today's Wild West. Horseback in the Alabama Hills.
That was the last film scene for John Wayne.
Just outside the small town of Lone Pine, California. In the shadow of towering Mount Whitney, the highest peak in the lower 48 states. If this rugged land of spectacular beauty looks like a scene out of a Western movie, that's because it has been hundreds of times.
Hoppy and his sidekick are being chased down Lone Ranger Canyon. They move the bad guys by hiding behind Hoppy Rock, right here. And there's a great still in the museum of this.
John Wayne was hiding behind rocks and doing shootouts in at least 6 of his westerns filmed here in Lone Pine. They are among the more than 400 movies filmed here since the 1920s, most of them westerns.
When James Garner and Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster came upon the wagon train, it had been robbed supposedly by the Indians, and then they went off looking for them. And when they're looking for them, they're actually going up Whitney Portal, up the side of the hill there below the road. More than meets expectations.
That movie-making heritage was celebrated once again at the 30th Annual Lone Pine Film Festival, a Columbus Day weekend packed with all kinds of unique opportunities to ride and walk exactly where John Wayne and just about any other Western movie star you can think of shot so many of those classic films.
Unlike all of our fans, I grew up with Hoppy, Roy, and Gene, and to be a part of this was pretty cool.
Cowboy poet Larry Maurice, who MCs many of the weekend gatherings, has been involved since the very beginning. When he heard that his childhood hero Roy Rogers was returning to Lone Pine, the scene of Roy's first starring role in the 1938 movie Under Western Stars.
Roy was here dedicating that plaque out on Movie Road. And they expected a couple of hundred people to show up, and I think they had close to 2,000 people show up. And Kerry Paul and Dave Holland looked at each other and went, uh-oh, I think we've started something.
We're going to do a talk after this movie.
Indeed they did. Since 1990, many other stars have returned to Lone Pine for the film festival, including Roy and Dale, Ernest Borgnine, Jack Palance, Gregory Peck, Richard Farnsworth, and Peggy Stewart, just to name a few. Today, many of those beloved stars and festival founders Kerry Powell and Dave Holland have passed on. But their timeless and fascinating stories live on, like those of Stuntman Lauren Janes, a festival regular we interviewed in 1999.
We'd been going back and forth on this 27 miles of narrow gauge track where he was shooting all the various stunts.
Janes always had his home movie camera along, while working on films like How the West Was Won.
I'd pick the spots and the angles I wanted them, and then they'd film me doing my stunts, and I'd film other people.
That's Lauren getting shot by an arrow during the Indian attack on the wagon train and getting trampled by the galloping horses of the pursuing Indians. And while it appears to be Debbie Reynolds who falls off her wagon, it's really Janes who falls, and Janes who vaults onto the back of the horse that races by to pick him up.
So I had the loose horses running all around me and the wagon coming at me, and I've got to watch them so they don't kick me and knock me down, and then catch his arm to swing up behind him.
He was an amazing stuntman, very beloved in the Eastern Sierra. And one time I was out here years ago riding with him, and he was just telling me about little places and things where he'd worked before. And he said, I've done that stunt hundreds of times. And what I forgot is I'd never done it in skirts. So they're running along, and he gets the pickup, leaps into the saddle perfectly, except he misses his mark. He lands back here. Instead of right here behind the other stuntman, he lands back here, and that horse goes boom, 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 goes to bucking. And he said, I knew I had to stay on. He said, if I came off, I'd probably get fired because they weren't going to redo that set with all those animals and the whole runaway and everything. He said, I stayed on. If you watch that movie today, you'll see that horse bucking.
The movie ends just up here, and it starts over here, so we're going to walk that way.
The weekend includes a number of movie location tours of the Rocks, like this one led by Don Kelson on the 1936 John Wayne movie, King of the Pecos.
A78 on 14. John Wayne's got his hand here.
Fans first watched the film in town, then followed Don as he led them to the exact locations where the Duke made that movie.
But the rock is missing. It's fallen. It's here. Now we're on page 3.
Don provides fans with still photos from the movie.
And for that bottom picture, A5, that perspective is up this way.
Then leads them right where particular scenes were shot.
He is stopping her to say, and I'm not a bad man. What I've done is good, and this is why. So this picture is
right here.
It's right here.
Oh, that's so great.
So if you were here, you can see Mount Whitney just like it is in the photo.
It's great fun for movie fans like Jeff and Glennis Quibel.
Watch the movie, say I've stood there, exactly where Randolph Scott or John Wayne stands.
Here for the 5th time, all the way from England.
To experience it, the only thing's missing the horses.
But you see from this side, the camera is this way.
Don first came to Lone Pine to cover the very first festival as a photographer for the Los Angeles Times.
Nice.
And he's never missed one since.
Dave Holland just showed all this magic and fun. It's a big puzzle. We're out here finding pieces. And these 3 bad guys are right behind this this knob on this rock. Best scene up here.
There's no question how awesome this place is. And I think also just kind of experiencing what they must have thought when they were here during the filming of that, how iconic this is.
And for him to be able to find these locations is awesome.
Incredible.
And the climax, if you remember Bad Day at Black Rock, where Robert Ryan shoots Anne Francis, I think in the back, and she's dead right out here.
With hundreds of films shot among these rocks.
And this is called Lone Ranger Ambush Canyon, which is where...
these locations have been used over and over for different pictures, like the original Lone Ranger. But for John Wayne fans, it's especially cool to walk where the Duke once did.
Are we back?
Yeah. We'll plan around it next year, I think.
Cool. And besides all the movie history, the Alabamas are just an amazing place to experience.
You couldn't have anything better than to be out here on this beautiful day, out in the Alabama hills.
Back in town, there are screenings all weekend of movies made here, like An Eye for an Eye, a 1966 Western starring the Alabama Hills and Patrick Wayne, John Wayne's son.
Well, I told the story last night after the screening about telling John Wayne how I thought he should say his line in my first scene with the Duke.
And Hollywood star Bobby Carradine came to Lone Pine to share his memories of the classic John Wayne Western, The Cowboys.
I was 17. I'd never been in a movie in my life. I'd hardly ever been on a set. and I chose to tell him how to say his line. And I guess I was right, because when you watch the movie, he took my suggestion, but on the day, he took out 15 minutes of hide on me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It didn't go well.
Bobby's been in some 80 films since then. Perhaps best known for Revenge of the Nerds, he's also starred in such stellar westerns as The Long Riders and Tom Selleck's remake of Monty Walsh. Westerns are known for action, and action means stunts. Lone Pine fans were treated to a special peek behind the scenes at a stunt demonstration hosted by NCIS stunt coordinator Diamond Farnsworth.
Hey, listen, my friend! We just wanted to demonstrate what stunts are and let them see how you put it together.
And Diamond's fellow stuntman, actor, and producer friend, John Moyle.
I think it takes a particular certain type person that just loves the adrenaline that you have before you do this stuff. I mean, I'm not talking about a junkie. I'm talking about, it's just, there's just some gratification in it. This is the only business you can go from a schmuck to a hero in about 10 seconds, or vice versa.
The afternoon showcased a new generation of amazing athletes whose stunts make all those TV shows and movies so exciting to watch.
So what he's going to do is, it's called a face-off. Go face first all the way in, but he can't land that way. He still has to land on his back.
And we use these for explosions. So when you see the guy getting blown up and flying through the air, that's what we use the airman for.
This is called a header.
Stunt work looks dangerous, because it is, but it's never reckless.
If we don't feel that we can come out of this 99.9% safe, we don't do it.
Life is so hard. What's the daily routine to stay in shape? I think that varies for everybody.
There was even a chance for a little Q&A.
I don't call this stunts, I call it action acting, because it has to look real. Header.
Great fun to get a peek behind the scenes of all that movie magic that begins when they call action in Lone Pine.
Wow, it's changing right now.
The festival also offers quieter moments, just as memorable, like the sunrise tour of the Alabamas.
It's amazing. It just puts life in perspective, doesn't it?
It's a rare treat and a great photo op to watch the sun light up the magnificent peaks of the Sierra. Truly awesome to see.
I mean, here we are early morning in the Alabama hills, and if this doesn't inspire you or uplift you, then there's something wrong. The Duke, Wild Bill and Jingles, oh, they got me through some pretty tough times. And Gabby always made me laugh. They were all pals of mine.
Larry Maurice is also a well-known cowboy poet.
And a new world came suddenly alive. And those old movies made the West exist. And they stirred me deep inside.
And that chance to meet Roy back when the film festival dawned inspired one of his favorite poems.
And it was my cowboy heroes that gave me values by what they did and what they said. Good guys in big white hats taught me right from wrong. You tip your hat to the ladies, and when it hurts, be strong.
I'm glad that the celebration of the cowboy continues, because it's an iconic piece of America that no one else can match, and I'm proud to be a part of that heritage.
It's my pleasure. I love it.
But none of this would happen without the weekend's many unsung volunteers.
It's beautiful.
Like Monica Zamora, up at 5 a.m. to help out on the sunrise tour.
lots of friends, lots of good people, and I like to volunteer wherever we can.
It's a team effort. It takes a village. But, you know, we've been at this a while, and we love each other, and we love doing this, so that makes it work.
The Alabama Hills have now been designated a National Scenic Area, a designation that will protect this treasure while still allowing people to use and enjoy it. Like riding horseback down those same trails where those legendary Hollywood heroes rode all those years ago, in this spectacularly beautiful area just waiting for you to discover at the Lone Pine Film Festival. That's it for now. We're back next time with more cool stuff from today's Wild West. I'm Mark Bedore. We'll see you down the trail. For more information on the people and places featured in today's Wild West, or to order show DVDs and books, visit todayswildwest.com. Funding for Today's Wild West provided by the Leggett Foundation,